The arrival. The sky over New York split open like a wound. It began with a low hum, so deep it rattled glass and bones alike. Then came the shadows, vast, metallic forms blotting out the sun as if night itself had descended in broad daylight. The world stopped to watch. Traffic froze on highways. Children abandoned playgrounds. Soldiers, politicians, priests, all stared skyward. The Zirath Dominion had arrived. Their foe's transmission reached every screen, every radio, every device across the planet. A single voice, cold and mechanical, speaking flawless English. Kneel, submit, and be spared. Resist, and be broken. The words lingered like poison. For a heartbeat, silence covered the earth. Then panic spread. Governments scrambled. Families wept. Prophets declared the end of days. Captain Sarah Mitchell, stationed with a UN peacekeeping unit near Manhattan, felt her chest tighten as the first Zirath warship lowered through the clouds. It was no mere vessel but a floating fortress, kilometers across, its hull alive with shifting lights. "They're gods," one of her soldiers whispered. Sarah clenched her jaw. "No, they're invaders." Elsewhere, in Lahore, Dr. Amir Qureshi adjusted his headset, his hands trembling as alien signals streamed across his instruments. He had spent his life searching the stars, dreaming of first contact. But dreams turned to nightmares when he decoded their intent. Domination, not dialogue. He pressed record, knowing the data might be humanity's only chance. In the underground tunnels beneath Boston, Elias Cross lit a cigarette as he listened to the broadcast on a battered radio. A former dock worker, he had lived through poverty, corruption, and war. He exhaled smoke into the stale air and muttered, "Neil, they don't know us at all." The first act of pacification came swiftly. Cities around the globe reported pillars of fire as alien drones scoured resistance pockets. Tanks melted under beams of light. Fighter jets were swatted from the sky like gnats. In London, Paris, Beijing, and Karachi, streets ran red. Yet amid the terror, something stirred. Sarah led her unit through the chaos, evacuating civilians as drones descended. Each scream, each fallen soldier, hardened her resolve. She raised her rifle, useless against their shields, yet she fired anyway, because surrender was not in her blood. On every continent, stories repeated themselves. Farmers swung axes at drones. Hackers flooded alien signals with static. Children hurled stones at armored patrols. Humanity bled from 1,000 wounds, but it did not kneel. The Zirath had conquered dozens of worlds before. None had resisted for long. But Earth was different. Its people were born from centuries of war and survival, tempered by struggle, driven by a defiance the Dominion could not fathom. As night fell, the alien ships still hovered, their lights casting a ghostly glow across ruined skylines. Fires burned, sirens wailed, but on every street corner, in every shattered home, whispers spread like wildfire. "They think we'll kneel." And for the first time since the skies darkened, Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Let's show them what happens when they underestimate humanity. Broken chains. The occupation began with silence. Where once streets rang with car horns and laughter, now they echoed with the metallic drone of alien patrols. The Zirath Dominion imposed curfews across every major city. Citizens were ordered to wear wristbands that pulsed with alien light, tracking every movement. Anyone found outside restricted zones was executed on the spot. Skies once filled with planes now swarmed with black, insect-like drones. Massive warships hovered like storm clouds, harvesting Earth's oceans and forests for resources. The Dominion's message was clear: Earth belonged to them. But humanity was not theirs to command. Captain Sarah Mitchell lived among the ruins of Manhattan, her unit scattered but not broken. Each night, she led survivors into the subway tunnels, where resistance cells gathered. Weapons were scarce, food scarcer, yet their spirits burned hotter with every act of cruelty. "We hold the line," Sarah told her soldiers. "Even if it's only a street, a corner, a single block, we hold it." Across the ocean, Dr. Amir Qureshi worked in secret, his lab hidden beneath the wreckage of a collapsed university. Alien scraps, Broken rifles, shattered drones, were spread across his desk. He studied them relentlessly, searching for flaws. His eyes burned from sleepless nights. His hands shook from hunger, but his mind blazed with purpose. "They think us primitive," he muttered, adjusting his microscope. "Let's prove them wrong." In Boston, Elias Cross had become a ghost. Once a dock worker, now a resistance leader, he wove a network of smugglers, hackers, and fighters. They moved food through the tunnels, passed coded messages, and distributed what few weapons they could steal. His voice, broadcast over a cracked radio transmitter, carried further than he could travel. "You are not alone. Fight where you stand. They bleed like we do." The Dominion responded with brutality. Whole neighborhoods were burned to ash for harboring fighters. Families were dragged into camps, forced to mine for alien machines. But cruelty had the opposite effect. Every atrocity fed to fire. Humanity's will hardened like steel under the hammer. Then came the first victory. One evening, Sarah's squad ambushed a Zerath patrol near the East River. Plasma fire lit the streets, searing asphalt. Against all odds, they struck down 2 soldiers and captured their weapons. For the first time, alien blood stained human soil, thick, black, and smoking in the cold night air. That blood became a symbol. Dr. Arms discovered something in the captured rifles, an oscillation in the energy field, a flaw in their shielding. "This," he whispered, trembling with revelation, "this is how we break them." Elias spread the word like wildfire. They are not invincible. Across the world, resistance groups tested the weakness. Shields flickered, drones fell, Dominion soldiers bled. It was costly. Dozens died for every alien slain. But for the first time, hope stirred. The Zerath had demanded humanity kneel. Instead, they found defiance in every alley, every ruin, every human heart. And as Sarah watched flames rise above the city skyline, rifle clutched tight, she whispered to herself, "This is only the beginning." Fire in the void. The world was on fire, this time by choice. What began as scattered uprisings grew into something larger. Across continents, resistance cells rose in unison. Farmers in Argentina turned irrigation tunnels into ambush sites. Hackers in Seoul flooded alien networks with false coordinates. Smugglers in North Africa stole fuel from Dominion depots. Every act, no matter how small, was a spark, and together they set Earth ablaze. Captain Sarah Mitchell had become the face of the fight in New York. Scarred, sleepless, but unyielding, she stood before a crowd of refugees huddled in a darkened subway station. "They think we're broken," she told them, voice echoing off the tunnel walls. "But look around you. We're still here. Still breathing. Still fighting. That's more than they expected. That's more than they can handle." Her words spread quickly through Elias Cross's network. Elias, though battle-worn, turned hope into a weapon. His underground broadcasts reached millions. "Do not kneel. Do not despair. They bleed as we bleed, and when they bleed, they fall." His voice, carried over static-filled radios, became a lifeline for the desperate. Meanwhile, far from the front lines, Dr. Amir Qureshi was unlocking doors humanity had never dared to open. In his hidden lab, he dismantled alien weapons piece by piece, mapping their circuits, studying their oscillating shields. He cobbled together hybrids, human steel grafted with alien energy. They were crude, unstable, and dangerous, but they worked. His proudest moment came when he handed Sarah the prototype of a captured rifle re-engineered with Earth-made power cells. "It won't last long," he warned, "but long enough to kill them." She looked at the weapon as if it were the torch of Prometheus itself. The Dominion was furious. Admiral Thalrock, commander of the occupation fleet, had crushed 20 worlds before Earth. None had resisted beyond weeks. His claws tore into the armrest of his command throne as he watched yet another report of human sabotage. "They are vermin," he hissed. But vermin spread disease. To break humanity's will, the Zerath escalated. Cities were razed from orbit. Millions perished in blasts of searing plasma. But instead of shattering resistance, the massacres became fuel for vengeance. The more the Dominion tried to crush humanity, the stronger it grew. Then came the battle that changed everything. South America. The skies above the Amazon burned as Dominion warships descended to harvest bioresources. But this time, they met resistance armed not just with rifles, but with knowledge. Dr. Army's shield weakness was tested on a grand scale. Missiles, modified with his calculations, pierced the alien barriers. For the first time in the war, a Dominion warship screamed as it split apart in the sky. Flaming wreckage rained into the jungle, lighting the night with fire. Humanity cheered. For once, the heavens had given something back. Sarah stood on the battlefield, staring at the burning carcass of the fallen ship. Around her, exhausted fighters raised their weapons in triumph. Elias's latest broadcast roared through every hidden speaker across Earth. They thought us weak. They thought us broken. They thought we would kneel. His voice hardened, triumphant. Instead, we made them bleed. And now, for the first time, the war was no longer just survival. It was vengeance. Retribution. The war had changed. Once, Earth was a world on its knees, hiding in ruins while the Zerath Dominion ruled from the skies. Now, the skies themselves trembled. Human victories, small at first, then undeniable, had bled the invaders. For the first time, an empire of countless conquests felt fear. And fear bred mistakes. Captain Sarah Mitchell stood atop the ruined husk of a skyscraper in New York, binoculars fixed on the alien command ship that loomed above the city. Its hull shimmered with shield energy, once impenetrable, now flickering with scars from human weapons. Around her, fighters prepared, ordinary men and women, soldiers and civilians alike, armed with scavenged rifles and crude hybrids of alien and human tech. "This is our moment," Sarah said, voice steady despite the exhaustion carved into her face. "We're not just fighting to survive anymore. Tonight, we take back our world." In a bunker beneath Karachi, Dr. Amir Qureshi uploaded the final version of his digital virus. His fingers flew across the keyboard as alien code collapsed under his algorithm, a symphony of logic and defiance. The virus would spread through their fleet like wildfire, severing communication, crippling coordination. He knew it was a one-way strike. The Zerath would find him, sooner or later, but he pressed send without hesitation. "They call us primitive," he whispered as the program deployed. "But even primitives can strike gods from their thrones." In Boston, Elias Cross made his final broadcast. His body was broken from weeks of fighting, his lungs ragged from smoke, but his voice still carried the fire that bound Earth together. "Brothers, sisters, humans of every land, hear me now." They came with chains. They came with fire. They came thinking we would kneel. Static hissed. Then his voice rose, iron and unyielding. "Instead, we made them bleed. And tonight, we drive them into the stars." The battle erupted across the globe. Resistance fighters stormed alien strongholds. Guerrilla strikes gutted supply lines. Modified missiles screamed through the sky, detonating against warships whose shields now sputtered under Dr. Army's sabotage. New York became the crucible. Sarah led her forces through burning streets as Dominion drones rained plasma. Every block was a slaughter, but for every human that fell, 3 more rose. Elias's words blared through handheld radios, keeping hope alive even as the city bled. Then the virus struck. Above, the command ship's lights dimmed. Its shields faltered. Its weapons fell silent. Human artillery roared, pounding its hull until fire and smoke poured from its wounds. Sarah seized the moment, rallying her battered fighters for one final charge. The ship cracked open like a carcass in the sky. For the first time in living memory, a Zerath flagship died at the hands of a species that was supposed to kneel. Defeated and bleeding, the Dominion retreated. One by one, their ships pulled from orbit, limping into the void. Earth was no longer theirs to claim. When the last shadow lifted from the skies, Sarah lowered her rifle and whispered, almost to herself, "It's over." But Dr. Amil, watching the stars through his cracked window, knew it was not the end. It was only the beginning. And Elias's final words echoed across every surviving radio. etched forever into human memory. They thought we would kneel. Instead, we rose. And one day, we will make them bleed again.